Hello everyone, and welcome back to my channel. I'm so happy to see you all again today as we continue the journey of Ly Hoai Ca, a strong, kind-hearted woman, and Officer Hùng, a man who lives with unwavering responsibility and deep love for his family. Life in the countryside may seem peaceful on the surface, but behind it lie untold stories, worries about their old home, dreams still unfinished, and the quiet tears and smiles that come with each day of hard work. In today's video, we'll witness a new turning point in their lives. Will Hoai Ca be able to hold on to her faith amid unexpected challenges? Will Hùng have the strength to protect his small family through all the pressures and temptations that lie ahead? Everything will be revealed right now. So stay tuned, watch closely, and don't forget to like, share, and leave a comment to continue supporting Hoai Ca and Hùng on this heartfelt journey. The soft morning sunlight spread gently across the porch. In the distance, a rooster crowed, blending with the faint scent of kitchen smoke drifting through the cool breeze. Hoai Ca carried a teapot out to the wooden table and called softly, "On Hùng, wake up, the sun's already up." Hùng stepped out, his hair still damp from washing his face. Smiling, he said, "Starting the day early, huh? With tea smelling this good, there's no way I could go back to sleep." The two sat down on the porch, sipping the warm tea as they looked out over the small garden bathed in golden light. The bean trellis they had fertilized the day before now looked lush and green, the vines wrapping tightly around the bamboo poles. Hùng stood up, walked over, and gently lifted one of the vines. "These beans are climbing fast. I'll have to build another trellis soon, otherwise they'll snap under their own weight." Hoai Ca smiled warmly. "I was thinking the same thing. Yesterday I felt bad seeing them crawl everywhere without support. If you're free this afternoon, let's cut some bamboo by the canal." "Sure," Hùng replied. "I'll go early, the bamboo there is still flexible. Once we finish the trellis, we can tie the vines up tomorrow." She nodded, brushing her hand lightly over the dew-covered leaves. "Honestly, just seeing the plants grow like this makes me happy. As long as they stay green and healthy, I feel at peace." Hùng looked at his wife and smiled softly. "Yeah, it's a bit of work, but seeing the results makes it worth it. As long as our home stays like this, I'm content." Their laughter mingled with the chirping of morning birds, filling the small garden with warmth and tranquility, a gentle, peaceful moment in their quiet countryside life. Hùng stood for a moment, gazing at the bean trellis, then turned to say, "Lately I've noticed you haven't been calling your mother much. I heard it's harvest season back home, but you haven't mentioned anything." Hoai Ca wiped her hands on her shirt and replied softly, "I still call her every night on. Just yesterday, I reminded her to let me know when the rice is ready so I can go help. But she said ours isn't ripe yet, still greener than the other fields." Hùng frowned slightly, looking off into the distance. His voice grew thoughtful. "That's strange. The fields around there are almost all harvested. If the rain comes, it'll be hard to dry the rice properly." She nodded, a hint of worry flickering in her eyes. "I know. The weather's been so unpredictable, sunny in the morning, raining in the afternoon. If it takes too long, the grains might go hollow." Hùng adjusted one of the bamboo poles and said firmly, "Then let's go this afternoon after lunch. We can help your mom harvest a bit. It'll lighten her load. I can take the rest of the day off." Hoai Ca looked at him, her smile soft and relieved. "Really on? That's wonderful. Mother will be so happy. It's just her and Aunt Hai working the field, and a whole hectare is too much for them alone." "Yeah," he nodded. "We'll leave early, just in case it rains later. The forecast said there'll be heavy showers in the next few days." She was quiet for a few seconds, then said gently, her voice touched with warmth, "When you're by my side, everything feels easier." Hùng smiled, resting a hand on her shoulder. That's one of families for helping each other together. They both turned their eyes toward the horizon, where the fields had turned golden under the morning sun. The rice stalks bowed heavy with grain, and the soft breeze rippled through them, as if whispering that harvest time was near. Early in the morning, dew still clung to the leaves. Hoai Ca put on her conical hat, slung a bamboo basket over her shoulder, and said, "Today I'm going to Uncle Ba's garden to pick papayas. Probably won't be back until noon." As Hung tied his shoelaces, he replied, "I'll come with you. It'll be faster with two people. The sun's getting stronger. You shouldn't be out there alone." She smiled, her eyes sparkling. "If you go with me, the owner won't need to hire anyone else." When they arrived at the garden, tall papaya trees stood in neat rows, heavy with fruit, golden ones mixed with green. Hung climbed up a wooden step, carefully cutting each papaya and handing it down to Hoai Ca. She caught them gently, wiped away the milky sap, and placed them into a basket. A cool breeze swept in from the river, carrying the sweet scent of ripe papayas. Hoai Ca picked one that had just turned orange, sliced off a small piece, and handed it to him. "Try this, see if it's sweet." He took a bite, the fresh sweetness spreading across his tongue. "It's delicious. It's been so long since I've had one ripened right on the tree." She laughed, her face glowing under the sunlight. "Then let's pick a few green ones later. I'll make papaya salad for you. It's your favorite, right?" "Yeah, make it a little spicy this time. Nothing beats that with hot rice." They chatted as they worked, their laughter echoing through the lush green garden, making the morning's labor feel more like a carefree stroll. When the baskets were full, Hoai Ca loaded them onto a small cart to take to the market. Hung reminded her, "Make sure you sit in the shade. Don't let the sun hit you too long." "I'm heading to the office now. I'll come get you at noon." "Okay. Drive safe and check on Mom's field if you pass by," she replied. "Got it," he said with a smile before starting his motorbike and heading off. At his desk, a thick stack of reports awaited, records of households affected by last week's floods. He went through each village, each family, carefully noting their losses to prepare the report for his superiors. Sunlight slanted through the window, casting a soft glow on his tanned face, weary, yet steady and full of purpose. A colleague walked in, glancing at the paperwork with a sigh. "Too few officers, too much to do. Some places we haven't even reached yet." Hung nodded calmly. "I know, but we can't just rush it. People are depending on us. We have to get it right so they can get help soon." Then he bent over his notes again. Each dry number on paper represented a leaky roof, a flooded field, a life he had seen with his own eyes. As the day ended, his phone rang. It was Hoai Ca. "Are you done yet?" "I sold almost everything." His voice softened, a smile in his tone. "Really? I'm just finishing up. I'll be there soon. We'll build the bean trellis this afternoon, okay?" "Okay, I'll wait for you." Her light laughter flowed through the line, mingling with the sound of wind outside the window, and for the first time all day, Hung felt the weight on his shoulders ease, replaced by a quiet, content warmth. At the village market, the midday sun filtered through the patchy tarps above, glimmering across rows of stalls. The air was thick with the mingling scents of fresh vegetables and ripe fruit, carried along by the cheerful chatter of buyers and sellers. Behind her small stall, Hoai Ca sat with neat baskets of golden papayas stacked before her. People passing by couldn't help but stop. "Miss, whose papayas are these? They're so sweet." "They're from Uncle Ba's garden, sir. I picked them fresh this morning," she replied with a gentle smile. One customer bought a fruit, another chose two. Before long, her basket was nearly empty. Sweat dampened her shoulders, but her bright eyes still shone with quiet satisfaction. After selling out, She stopped by a nearby stall to buy a bundle of carrots, some red chilies, a bottle of vinegar, and a handful of roasted peanuts. As she calculated the change, she thought to herself, "This afternoon I'll make green papaya salad for Hung, he'll love that." A soft breeze swept in from the riverside, lifting the hem of her blouse and carrying with it the faint, sweet and sour scent of the simple dishes soon to be served at their dinner table. While Hoai Ca was still at the market, Hung took advantage of a short break to head home. The paperwork on his desk remained unfinished. His colleagues were still gathering additional reports, so he decided to set it aside for now. Looking out the window, he noticed the bean trellis leaning slightly, the vines stretching upward as if waiting for his hands. Smiling, he rolled up his sleeves and walked to the edge of the canal, where he selected several straight bamboo stalks. The sound of his knife striking bamboo, clack, clack, echoed through the quiet noon air, blending with the hum of cicadas. Soon, he carried back a bundle of fresh bamboo and began setting up the trellis with steady, practiced movements. Sweat streaked his forehead, dusted with fine bamboo shavings, yet he worked quickly and skillfully. When Hoai Ca returned, she froze for a moment as she set down her basket. Before her stood a nearly finished trellis, solid, even, and perfectly aligned. She stepped closer, her voice full of surprise and emotion. "Oh my, you did all this by yourself? I thought we'd do it together this afternoon." Hung smiled, wiping the sweat from his brow. "It's just a few pulls. I thought I'd finish it early so we can rest later." Hoai Ca looked at the trellis, her eyes glimmering in the sunlight. "Thank you. Honestly, with you here, everything just feels easier." He chuckled softly, his tone calm and warm. "Because we do everything together, don't we?" She nodded, reaching up to tie the last few strings. In the small garden, the wind rustled through the bean leaves while soft sunlight fell across their shoulders. An ordinary afternoon, simple yet filled with warmth deeper than any words could express. That afternoon, as Hoai Ca was setting the table for dinner, Hung's phone buzzed. He glanced at the screen. It was Man, his cousin who worked in a nearby commune. Mana's cheerful voice came through the receiver. "Brother Hung, I've got news. Your old house, the one by the stream, someone just moved in today. I asked around, and they said it's a new owner, a lady who works at an office nearby." Hung froze, a flicker of emotion in his eyes. "Really? Do you know if she's renting or if she bought it?" "I'm not sure, but it sounds like she bought it. If you want, I can help set up a meeting." "Yeah, do that for me. I just want to talk to her, nothing more." After hanging up, Hung stood in silence for a while. Hoai Ca looked over and asked softly, "What's wrong, On?" He spoke quietly, his tone heavy. "It's our old house. Man said someone's moved in. I want to go see, maybe." She nodded gently, understanding without needing more words. "Go. I know that house still means a lot to you." By late afternoon, the sunlight had turned golden, spreading across the dusty village road. When the house came into view, Hung stopped in his tracks. The tiled roof had been replaced. A new fence stood where the old bamboo one used to be, yet the familiar shape of the house remained. Memories washed over him, his mother's laughter, the smell of cooking fires, the evenings when he and Hoai Ca sat weaving baskets on the porch. A middle-aged woman stepped out, calm and composed. "You must be Hung," she said gently. "Man told me you wanted to meet." Hung bowed politely. "Yes, ma'am. I'm sorry to bother you. This house, it used to belong to my family. I just wanted to know if you bought it or are renting, so I wouldn't keep wondering." She nodded sincerely. "I bought it. Everything's legal and in my name now. I work for the district office, so I moved here to be closer to work." Hung was silent for a moment, then spoke again, his voice steady but full of emotion. "I understand. I don't mean to intrude. It's just, this house holds so many memories for us. If someday, by chance, you ever decide to sell, I'd love the opportunity to buy it back. I'd pay the full price, even more if needed, as long as you'd consider it. The woman looked at him, her expression softening. I understand how you feel. Old homes are hard to forget. Tell you what, I'll talk to my family. If we ever decide to move or sell, I'll make sure you're the first to know. Hung bowed slightly, his voice trembling. Thank you, truly thank you. Just hearing that is enough for me. She smiled kindly. Keep your faith, Mr. Hung. Sometimes, the things we think are lost find their way back at just the right time. He nodded and turned to leave. The evening breeze carried the faint scent of erica blossoms, brushing past the newly tiled roof. The old house stood quietly behind him, unchanged in spirit, as if waiting patiently for the day it would welcome him home again. Dusk had fallen by the time Hung returned home. The village road was quiet, with only the steady chirping of crickets along the grassy fields breaking the silence. He stopped by Manna's house first. Man had just washed his hands and, seeing him at the gate, asked eagerly, So, how did it go on? Did the new owner agree to talk to you? Hung sat down on the doorstep, poured himself a cup of green tea, and spoke in a low voice. Luckily, she's a kind person. Works at the district office, said she bought the house properly. I told her that if she ever plans to sell, to let me know first. Man nodded thoughtfully. Well, at least that's something to hold on to. But the land over there's gotten expensive, on probably twice what it used to be. Hung sighed, his gaze distant. I know. I just worry that by the time I can afford it, it might be too late. Still, as long as she keeps her word, there's hope. He patted Manna's shoulder in thanks, then got back on his bike and headed home. Inside their small kitchen, Hoai Ca was setting the table. When she heard the motor stop, she stepped outside. You're back. So, how did it go? Hung sat down, his tone calm but soft. They've already bought it. But the lady said she'll tell me first if anything changes. She's kind, she seemed to understand when I told her about our story. Hoai Ca sat beside him, took his hand gently, and smiled encouragingly. It's okay, On. I believe one day we'll have that house again. For now, we just keep working, keep saving, and if we're blessed, the chance will come. Hung looked at her, the light from the yellow bulb reflecting in his eyes. I just worry time will pass too quickly, and we won't be ready. She shook her head, her voice soft as a breeze. It's all right. As long as we still have faith, we still have everything. Remember what I told you, a house can be lost, but the place we build together with love and effort, that's our real home. He gazed at her quietly, and in that moment, all the weight on his heart seemed to fade away. Outside, the frogs began to croak, signaling an approaching rain. Hung stood up and said gently, I'll go help Mother with the harvest tomorrow morning, before the rain ruins the crop. Hoai Ca nodded, her eyes following the faint flashes of lightning beyond the porch. Far off in the distance, the sky glimmered as if reminding them that after every storm, the world clears again, and somewhere, beneath the same old roof of memory, hope still waits. When Hung returned home, he hung his jacket on the wall, washed his hands, and sat down at the small desk by the window. On the table lay a thick stack of notebooks, lists of households needing assistance after the recent floods. He carefully reviewed each line, adding small notes about the damaged fields, the losses, and the plans to help the villagers recover their crops. Outside, the wind began to rise. The banana leaves behind the house swayed and rustled, blending with the steady ticking of the clock. Hung looked up toward the window. The sky was turning gray, heavy clouds rolling in from the mountains. In the kitchen, Hoai Ca was tending to the fire. The flames flickered, casting a warm orange glow across her face. Her hair shifted slightly as the wind blew through the porch. She stirred the pot of rice. The fragrance of freshly harvested grain mixed with the smell of fried shallots filled the small house. "On oi," she called out, her voice gentle. "I'm cooking early so we can head to the fields to help Mother. Looks like it's going to rain soon." "Yeah," Hung replied, his tone calm but firm. "Let me finish this, and we'll go. If the rain comes hard, the rice will fall flat." She walked out, wiping her hands on her apron, glancing up at the sky. "The clouds are moving fast. I just hope the rain holds off long enough for us to finish the harvest." Hung stood up, looking toward the wind. The first drops of rain began to fall softly onto the porch. "Let's hope the sky has mercy," he said quietly. "Just let everyone finish gathering the crop before it pours." They exchanged a look. No more words were needed. Both knew that this harvest meant everything: the labor, the sweat, the hope of his mother, and so many villagers. If the storm came too soon, all that effort could wash away in a single night. Thunder rolled faintly in the distance. Streaks of lightning tore across the horizon. Hung closed his notebook, carefully tucking the papers into the drawer, then turned to Hoai Ca and said softly, "Let's go, before the rain comes down hard." She nodded, tightening the strap of her conical hat. Outside, the wind grew stronger, carrying the earthy scent of the first raindrops, a warning of a restless afternoon ahead, where every minute would count. The wind grew stronger, and the first drops of early rain began to patter softly against the tiled roof. Hoai Ca hurriedly grabbed Hung's hand, her voice anxious yet full of determination. "Let's go quickly, On. Mother's probably out in the fields already." Hung nodded, slipping on a thin raincoat. He glanced up at the darkening sky and silently whispered a prayer. "Please, just let the rain hold off long enough for us to finish the harvest." Thunder rumbled again, drowning out the shouts of the villagers working in the fields. Through the thickening curtain of rain, two figures, Hung and Hoai Ca, rushed toward the distant paddies, their silhouettes illuminated now and then by flashes of lightning cutting across the silver-gray sky. Will they make it in time to help Mother finish the harvest before the storm breaks? And will this year's crop, the fruit of so much effort and hope, be safely gathered? Stay tuned for the next episode to witness the heartfelt moments that await.
Xin chào tất cả mọi người đã quay trở lại với kênh của mình. Hôm nay thì mình tiếp tục đưa đến với mọi người câu chuyện của Ly Hoai Ca và cả sát Hùng. Mọi người thân mến, thì như mọi người cũng đã biết là kênh của mình thì mình sẽ lên một nội dung chính là câu chuyện của Hoài Ca và Hùng. Ngoài ra thì mình cũng sẽ có lên một vài nội dung nữa. Tuy nhiên là nó sẽ không thường xuyên. Trước kia thì mình có lên, nhưng mà do bây giờ cái thời gian mình làm cũng không có nhiều nên là mình cũng không thể lên nhiều video được. Và mình mong rằng mọi người sẽ ủng hộ cho kênh mình nhiều hơn để mình có động lực ra nhiều video và hay hơn. Và mong rằng vẫn có thể nói chuyện và chia sẻ cùng với mọi người cho những video tiếp theo. Nếu như mọi người yêu quý kênh mình và đặc biệt là yêu quý hai nhân vật Hoài Ca và Hùng, cũng như là đón chờ những câu chuyện tiếp theo từ kênh mình, thì mọi người nhớ ấn đăng ký kênh, sau đó bật chuông thông báo lên mọi người nhé, để mỗi khi mà kênh mình ra video nào mới thì sẽ có thông báo đến cho mọi người, để mọi người có thể là những người xem đầu tiên. Cảm ơn mọi người rất nhiều. Hẹn gặp lại.